What if death isn't the end for everyone? What if some people walked so closely with God that he simply took them home without the pain of goodbye? Imagine living a life so full of faith that the heavens open and you're swept away in a moment of glory. I've felt that pull in my own heart, wondering if my walk with God could ever be that intimate, that unbreakable. Today, we're diving into one of the Bible's most intriguing mysteries. 3 people who never died. Not in the way we know death, at least. Their stories aren't just ancient tales. They're beacons of hope, reminders that God's love can defy even the grave. We'll walk through the lives of Elijah, Enoch, and the promise for Christians in the end times, a rapture that could happen any day. If these stories stir something in you, drop a comment below. God, help me walk closer to you. Let's journey together, and who knows, this might just change how you see eternity. Elijah, the prophet who rode the wind. Picture a time when darkness gripped the land of Israel like a storm cloud that wouldn't lift. The king, Ahab, had turned his back on God, marrying Jezebel, a woman who dragged the nation into idol worship. Baal, a false god of storms and fertility, became the people's obsession. Hearts grew cold, faith faded, and the true God seemed forgotten. Into this mess steps Elijah, a man from the rugged hills of Gilead, a Tishbite with no royal blood, no fancy connections, just a burning heart for the Lord. Elijah wasn't like the kings or priests of his day. He was raw, bold, a voice crying out in the wilderness. I can almost see him standing tall against the wind, his cloak whipping around him as he confronts Ahab. As the Lord lives, there shall be no dew or rain these years, except at my word. 1 Kings 17:1. Drought hits hard, a divine judgment on Israel's unfaithfulness. Elijah hides by a brook, ravens bringing him food, God's way of showing he's always the provider, even in famine. Have you ever felt that? When life dries up and God sends unexpected help, like a friend's call or a sudden peace. But Elijah's biggest moment comes on Mount Carmel, a showdown that still gives me chills. The prophets of Baal, 450 strong, dance and cry out for their God to send fire on their sacrifice. They cut themselves, shout louder, but nothing. Silence from heaven. Then Elijah steps up, rebuilds God's altar with 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He digs a trench, soaks the wood with water 3 times, making it impossible for fire to catch. Lord, let it be known today that you are God, he prays. 1 Kings 18:36-37. Fire falls like lightning, consuming everything, even the water. The people fall on their faces. The Lord, he is God. Elijah's faith ignites a revival, but it also stirs Jezebel's rage. She vows to kill him, and Elijah flees, exhausted and afraid. I relate to that so much, those highs of victory followed by crashing lows. Elijah hides in a cave, depressed, feeling alone. I've been zealous for you, but they've killed your prophets, he cries. 1 Kings 19:10. God whispers, not in wind or earthquake, but a still small voice. You're not alone. There are 7,000 who haven't bowed to Baal. God restores him, sends him to anoint kings and his successor, Elisha. Elijah's life is a roller coaster of miracles, raising a widow's son, multiplying oil, calling down fire. But his greatest miracle? He never dies. The day comes when God calls Elijah home. He knows that God has whispered the secret. With Elisha by his side, they travel from Gilgal to Bethel to Jericho, then the Jordan. On the other side, Elijah asks, "What can I do for you before I'm taken?" Elisha replies, "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." 2 Kings 2-9. Bold ask. Elijah says, "If you see me go, it'll be yours." Suddenly, a chariot of fire, horses blazing, sweeps between them. A whirlwind lifts Elijah into heaven, 2 Kings 2:11. Elisha cries, "My father, the chariots of Israel. He tears his clothes, picks up Elijah's cloak, strikes the Jordan, it parts again. Elijah's gone, not dead, but translated to glory. Can you feel the awe? Elijah, a man like us, walks so closely with God that death can't touch him. James 5:17 says he was a man with a nature like ours, yet his prayers shut the heavens. His story makes me tear up. It's hope that if we pursue God with all our hearts, he can do the impossible in us too. Enoch, the man who walked away with God. Now let's go back further, to a time when the world was young and wild. Humanity's spreading, but sin's creeping in like shadows at dusk. Amid this, one man stands out, Enoch. Genesis 5 lists the patriarchs, Adam, Seth, Enoch, but Enoch's different. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more, because God took him. Genesis 5:24. No death mentioned, just gone, whisked away. Enoch lives 365 years, a number like a year's days, full and complete. At 65, he fathers Methuselah, whose name means, "When he dies, it shall come," a prophecy of the flood. After Methuselah's birth, Enoch walks with God 300 years, having other children. Genesis 5:22. What does walked with God mean? It's intimacy, like a daily chat with your best friend. I imagine Enoch strolling under stars, sharing his heart, listening to God's whispers. Hebrews 11:5 says, "By faith Enoch was taken away, so that he did not see death. For before he was taken, he had this testimony, that he pleased God." Pleasing God simple, yet profound. Hebrews 11:6 adds, "Without faith it's impossible to please him." The Book of Jubilees and Enoch's own apocryphal book paint him as a visionary, seeing heavenly realms, warning of judgment. But the Bible keeps it simple. He walked faithfully, and God took him. No funeral, no grave, just home. I get emotional thinking about it. Enoch so close to God that heaven couldn't wait. In a world full of noise, do we walk that closely? His story inspires me to slow down, seek God's presence daily. Jude 14-15 quotes Enoch prophesying judgment, showing his words echo through time. 2 Chronicles 16-9 says God's eyes search for those whose hearts are fully his. Enoch was that man, loyal, faithful. His rapture foreshadows ours, a promise that faith triumphs over death. The rapture, a promise for us. Now the mystery deepens. The Bible hints at a third group who won't die, Christians in the end times. 1 Thessalonians 4:13-18 paints a picture that quickens my pulse. Paul writes to comfort believers grieving lost loved ones. We do grieve like those without hope. V13. Jesus died and rose, so God will bring back those who died in him. Then the thrill. The Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the archangel's voice, with God's trumpet. The dead in Christ rise first. Then we who are alive will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will always be with the Lord. V 16-17. Caught up, raptured in a blink. No death, just transformation. I feel hope surging. Imagine that day. Chaos below, but we're lifted, reunited with loved ones, forever with Jesus. Paul says encourage each other with this. V 18. Enoch and Elijah preview it. Faithful walkers taken without death. For us, it's the ultimate victory over sin's curse. But when? Jesus says no one knows the day or hour. Matthew 24:36. Signs like wars, earthquakes, false prophets point nearness. Matthew 24. Live ready faith like Enoch, boldness like Elijah, living in the light of eternity. These stories aren't just history, they're invitations. Elijah's whirlwind, Enoch's walk, the rapture's promise, they show God honors faith. In a world chasing fame and comfort, walk with him. I've had days where I felt distant, but drawing near changes everything. What about you? Does this stir your heart? Share in the comments. I'm ready to walk closer with God. Like, subscribe to the Biblical Series, and share this hope. Let's live for the day we meet Him, whether by death or rapture. God bless you.